Good morning, everyone. My name is Ray Dillon, and I'm president of the ranch's Board of Trustees. It's my pleasure to welcome you today to the Arkansas Sheriff Youth Ranches as we celebrate 50 years of this life-changing organization. From its founding in 1976, the ranch has been a special place. It's taken children into care for in their hour of need. It's given children a second chance at a childhood they would have never had otherwise. And it's given them opportunities to create a life for themselves. It's given them a home, it's given them hope, and it's given them a chance. Today we pause to recognize those who came before us, the sheriffs who founded us, the children who we were given to raise and give a chance to thrive, and the staff who has spent their lives raising these children. And those of you that have given generously and supported this mission for the past 50 years. I'm grateful that you're all here today to help us celebrate this important milestone in the ranch's history and look forward to the next 50 years of giving children a future at the ranch. Now I would like to introduce the ranch's CEO, Nancy Fulton, who will introduce our speakers. Nancy?
Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to see all of you. Some of you I've gotten to say hello to, and some I haven't. But by the end of the day, I'm going to give everybody here a hug because I'm so happy you're here. And I'm so excited that we are able to have this 50th birthday party, even if it's a little different than we initially planned. But we're here, and we're actually grateful for the rain and our pond and our grass and our cows are. And we're so grateful that every single one of you are here, even if it's a little chilly. So happy birthday to the Youth Ranch, and thank y'all for coming out. Our first speaker that we're going to call up, and we're just, we're here to kind of just tell stories about the ranch. And I know a lot of you are going to tell stories to each other, and some of us already have. But the first person is very important to us because her father was actually one of the founding sheriffs, of the five that had the idea, and went to all the other sheriffs and said, "What do you think about doing this?" So Michelle, will you come up?
My dad, Michael Grady, served as deputy sheriff and later sheriff of Prairie County for close to 20 years. Dad came from a sheriffing family. His dad was a sheriff, his uncle was a sheriff, and even for a little while, my grandmother, his mother, was a sheriff after his father died. As a sheriff of a rural county, he saw some really sad situations, often involving children. He and his fellow sheriffs were concerned about the kids they ran across that later turned up as offenders. In 1976, these sheriffs got together and successfully appealed to the Arkansas Sheriff's Association to start the Arkansas Sheriff's Boys Ranch, which later became the Arkansas Sheriff's Youth Ranch. As a kid, I remember Dad telling my brother and me about the ranch. He talked about it with such passion and pride. He would describe the cottages, the food, the kind house parents, and my favorite part, the horses. It sounded like such a wonderful place, and I know for many children it has been. Dad carried his passion for the ranch until the end of his life in 2016. He was honored by the organization in November of 2013 for a lifetime of service. I know he would be so proud to be a part of this 50th anniversary celebration. What started as concern for the young people living in his county developed into an organization that has not only survived, but thrived for the last 50 years, serving many boys and girls throughout that time. That's a legacy any sheriff would be proud of.
Thank you, Michelle. I had the honor of knowing her dad. I came on as CEO in 2013, and Mike was still on our board. So I loved being able to get to know him and hear his stories. Phyllis Worley is our next speaker. Phyllis is a longtime board member, off and on, every time we can talk her into it, and one of our past presidents, and was actually here through much of the construction of this complex that we see here. So Phyllis Worley.
First of all, I want to say, Michelle, thank you. I knew your dad very well. I came on the board in like 1989 or 90, and for the next 20 plus years, served through all of this construction. A part of, was president while we were doing the building because all the guys ran. But anyway, thank you for coming and sharing. Your dad was an amazing man. Matt asked me to speak for 5 minutes. I said, I can't cram 2 decades in 5 minutes. So I want to tell you how I became involved. I was the public defender at the juvenile court in Little Rock. I saw everything. That's when the teen gangs were first starting. I represented the head of the Crips and the Bloods at the same time and was told I was the most protected white woman in Pulaski County. That scared me to death. But at any event, I saw kids from every behavioral facility, every mental health facility, through DHS, foster care, saw all these kids. And I would see them come in from one of them, and I am, first of all, not diminishing what they do at all. These kids needed help, and they were getting it there. But what I saw from the kids was when I looked at their eyes, it was just sort of blank. They were in a facility. They were a chart on a clipboard. They were a resident. They were a patient. They weren't a kid. They had to earn their way to wear clothes in some of these places. They had food brought to them, cooked by some institution on a plastic plate. They didn't go to school. They had books brought to them. Good luck with that, right? Some of the kids were smart enough to work the program enough to get out, and some were oppositional enough to get out, and then others really took heart. But I kept seeing some kids come in from this place called the Arkansas Sheriff's Boys and Girls Ranch. And at first I kind of looked at them and, okay, there's something different here. And as I would see more than one child come back in, it hit me. This is not a facility. This is a home. They don't have staff with clipboards. They have house parents. They're not eating off plastic plates. They're eating at a table with home-prepared food. If they're struggling with school, they have tutors. If they're struggling with their past, they have counselors. They have community. And it boiled down to one word for me: belonging. They had a family to belong to, a home, not just a house, not just a room or a bed. They had a home to belong to. They had housemates, siblings to belong to. So when you look at that, when the kids say, I go home, we've had, and the other thing with going to school and being part of the community, our kids weren't shoved into a corner as those ranch kids. We had one young lady who was president of the Beta Club. We had football and track stars. We had one young man that went to law school. When they come home from college, they raid the pantry and go back just like our kids did. This was their home. So the first board meeting I came to, I can't get into that story because it's too long. But anyway, one of my kids that I sent here borrowed the Baptist church van and ran into a tree. And so I asked them what my penance was, and they said, we need board members who care about kids. And that's how I got on the board, 89, 90, somewhere in there. And I went to tour. I wanted to see what this place was, and I didn't understand what it was exactly. I went into a house thinking I was going to see plastic furniture, and that's the day I met Rick and Cheyenne Ingram. They're here somewhere, and there they are. And we became good friends. And so when I would come for meetings, it wasn't unusual for me to land at Cheyenne's bar because she always had cookies or cakes or pies because it was a home. I wasn't going into a facility. I was going into a home. So I saw a couch that I could have curled up and gone to sleep on. And I saw kids playing foosball or air hockey or something in the corner. I saw a home. The difference in our kids, I saw them smile. I saw them laugh. I saw them be a part of something, of belonging. And so every time I come back up here, I'm going to tell you, a little piece of me says, welcome home. This is my home too. Thank you all for coming and helping us celebrate.
Our next speaker is Sean Stevens. Sean is Sheriff of Independence County and one of our board members, and I cannot tell you how much we appreciate Sean and the Sheriff's Department and all of the support that they give us, as well as all of our sheriffs across the state that also support us in various ways, including serving on our board. Sean Stevens.
First off, I want to start off by thanking everybody for coming. Thank you, Matt, for asking me to speak at this. When I was first asked, I wasn't sure what I was going to say. Matt bounced a couple of ideas off of my head, and I come up with a few words. But 50 years ago, a simple but powerful idea took root. Every child deserves safety, guidance, and a chance to succeed. The Arkansas Sheriff Youth Ranch has lived out this idea every single day since then. In 1976, when a group of sheriffs of Arkansas founded the ranch, everything you see here today was just a dream. Our county sheriff saw a growing need for children who were slipping through the cracks. They simply needed a safe and loving place to call home. Over the past 5 decades, this organization has done more than provide shelter. It's provided stability, compassion, hope, and as Ms. Worley said, a home for the children. Excuse me. Because Arkansas is such a rural state, the first call that people would make would be to their local sheriff if a child was in trouble and needed help. I've heard some of the stories of children having to go home with sheriff deputies or sleep in the office back at the sheriff's office when there was no other place or no other option for them. In 76, the Arkansas Sheriff's Association came together and all 75 sheriffs signed a nonprofit incorporation paperwork to make the ranch a safety net for these children. They bought a tract of land here in Independence County that had been repossessed due to back taxes. This is where the ranch has operated ever since. 50 years later, the dream of those original sheriffs has become a reality to more than 2,300 boys and girls from every corner of the state who have called the ranch home. Anniversaries, birthdays like this aren't just about looking back. They're about recognizing the lives changed along the way. Every child helped, every family supported, every success story is part of this legacy. The milestone is also a testament to the direction of the sheriff's staff, house parents, volunteers, and supporters who have made this mission possible. Their commitment has turned a vision into a lasting impact across generations. As we celebrate 50 years, we also look ahead. The need for safe, supportive environments for young people hasn't gone away. It's only growing stronger. Here's to the next 50 years changing lives, strengthening communities, and giving young people the opportunity to survive. I'm a current board member of the ranch, and I get to serve on this board with several other people and 8 other sheriffs from the state of Arkansas. Thank you.
And our next speaker is Larry Stein. Larry is a longtime board member and current board member, and also is past president of our board.
Thank you, Nancy and Ray. And I too am grateful all of you are here today. And just want you to know, I grew up in the country and had an appreciation and a love and the value of the land and the livestock and all that. And so some years ago I just want to tell you how God works in mysterious ways. I got a phone call at my office and picked it up, and it was a friend of mine, Kurt Bradbury. And he said, "Stone, I need you to buy a table." And I said, okay, what's the organization? He said, Sheriff's Youth Ranches. I said, I'm not familiar with that organization. It doesn't matter, you're buying a table anyway. I said, yes, sir. And so I attended that event, and I wanted to tell you that it was the first dinner that the ranch ever had. And I was totally moved and blown away with the authenticity, the sincerity, the down-to-earth, grassroots values that this organization was applying to saving kids, giving them an opportunity to be a kid and to live a life to the fullest then and forever. And I was just, as I said, very impressed. And also I was sitting at the table with Phyllis Worley, who encouraged me to join the board, and being Phyllis. And I said, well, I'd like to attend the first board meeting, or the next board meeting, and just see what I think about it. Again, I was totally impressed with the quality of the people, the leadership, the accomplishments of what was going on. And so if you ever need someone that you want to pull off to the side and say, tell me the big story about the ranch, I'm available for that, because I can definitely tell you from my heart. And when I was asked to give a few words today, I thought, for me, this is really a God-sized story. And if I were to tell that story and or even just recognize the people that are here today and those that are not here that deserve being recognized for the amount of servant leadership that they poured into this and the good that's been done, we wouldn't be eating lunch today, we'd be eating supper. So I decided not to do that. But I'm available at any time if anybody needs a testimony about the value of the ranch, because I have seen it. Millie and I have experienced it personally. We had a nephew that went through the ranch program who was lost on the streets in Hot Springs because of his circumstances. He spent the last years of high school here. Because of that, he turned out to be a fine young man, a good husband, a good father, and a grandfather. And I have witnessed it personally. And a lot of the thanks to go to that lady right there, Cheyenne. She had a lot to do with it, and Rick, and on and on and on. This is a beautiful place, and this is a God-sized story, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is someone that's very dear to many of us here. Roger Wright was our very first rancher, and he is going to come up and share a bit about life at the ranch.
So when Matt reached out to me and asked me if I would say, he knew I'd say yes at the opportunity to come up here and say a few words. So I contemplated what I was going to say. I've had to speak at a few of these before, seeing how I've been here associated for the better part of 50 years. And I could only think of one word to sum up everything I've had from this ranch, and that word is opportunity. But I knew Nancy and Matt wanted me to say more than just come up here and say opportunity. So I think the best thing to do was to tell a story. And so I'm thinking back to 1976. So for those of you who are around, the state slogan was the land of opportunity. So that's the same year the ranch was founded. What I want to do is I want to introduce you to what I can only describe as the Augusta Menace. So, and if you can call two young boys age 4 and 6 a menace, well, that's what it was. The late Sheriff Ed Hall realized early on that these two kids were just hungry and neglected, and were doing this way as to get food and to get warm. Either Ed or one of his deputies was often called to pick them up, take them down to the jail, feed them in a warm, safe environment. This went on for over a year until July of 1977. That sheriff took the opportunity to relocate the menace to what is now known as the Arkansas Sheriff's, or was known as the Arkansas Sheriff's Boys Ranch, or as I like to call it, the Ranch of Opportunity. So now 5 and 7, the Menace became ranchers number 1 and 2. So I'm going to primarily focus on rancher number 1 because he and I were pretty much inseparable. And you could say that I could see lots of huge changes and all the opportunities that the ranch gave him. So let's talk about the opportunities. Opportunity 1, he felt safe and secure for the first time in his life. He had 3 meals a day, his own clothes, and a bed to call his own. Opportunity 2 allowed him to be a kid for the first time in his life and not always have to take care of his younger brother. I could go on and on with the numbers of opportunities, but that would take, like I think Larry said, we could be here till dinner. So rancher number 1 quickly learned that he was pretty good at math and science and that he was offered the opportunity to actually excel at education and graduated high school from Perry. Rancher number 1 also became the first rancher to graduate from college. So that shy, quiet little boy was given the opportunity to feel love and find love. He met the love of his life in high school here in Batesville. They married, moved away for college, and after graduation and securing a promising career, his high school sweetheart blessed him with 2 lovely kids that have grown into very wonderful, fine young adults. All those opportunities have let rancher number 1 become very successful, travel the world, and achieves things that the Augusta Menace would never have accomplished. So now back to why I was so willing to speak here today. The ranch gave me the opportunity that a shy 7-year-old Menace would never have been given. Many of you have heard me talk about this story before, and some of you are hearing this variation for the very first time. I stand up here today because of all those opportunities that the ranch has given every rancher, including myself, starting back in 1977. Thank everybody who's donated, served on the board, been house parents, helped in any way with the ranch. Thank you from rancher number 1.
The ranch is a special place. I'm a mental health professional. I spent about 25 years doing direct services with mostly children and adolescents and did mostly trauma treatment. So having an opportunity to come to the ranch to provide safe places for children where there was not safety was very important to me and continues to be important to me to this day. It is critical in our state that we take care of the most vulnerable of our residents, which are our children that are not safe. So for all of you that support the ranch, support our mission, support what we do, I am grateful because we are making a change for the future and a change for the better. We have wonderful children that come here. We have wonderful staff. We lead with our heart. And we always try to make the best decisions we can make for our organization and for our children that call the ranch home. There's magic here. I always say, some people may not believe in magic, but so many people come here and they say, oh my gosh, when I come here, I just take a deep breath. I feel so relaxed. It feels so good. But there have been lots of laughter and lots of tears here, some shed by the children and lots shed by the staff as well. But all of us are so fortunate to work here. And I am so blessed that I was given the opportunity to come and lead this great organization. So thank you to all of you.